Hey everyone, if you love combat sports such as MMA or any other form of combat sports, hit the like, share, subscribe button to the Drewsperience. Yes, got my own hoodie. You know, the real Jewish gangster is at it again. So today, I just want to say we are joined today again by a second appearance. And I love it when I get a second appearance, especially from a potential title contender who's on his way. He's this close. I call myself the Jewish gangster, but he's the real gangster. He's the king of Pittsburgh, the king of Steel Town, the godfather of Steel Town, the fourth-ranked Bellator middleweight contender, Dalton Hercules Rosta. Welcome back to the Drewsperience, Dalton.
What's up, man? How's it going?
I'm awesome, and thanks for doing this. It's good to have you back. I mean, like the last time we did it, like it was great. Then I saw your appearance again on Simon Arias. I gotta plug that show in because I wouldn't be talking to you if it wasn't for two people. Simon's show with you, and then Dylan Rush. So gotta say, the second appearance of Simon was A1. Loved it. And I said, you know what? It's time for Dalton to come back on here. So I had to give a plug into your boy Simon.
I appreciate it, man.
It's good. Yeah. So I know you made a kind of an announcement with another content creator, and then I recently spoke with Dylan Napoleon, and we were talking about, you know, Dalton might have something coming up, and I'm like, and we both decided to keep it tight-lipped, better to come from your mouth. So if you can, what is one thing you can say about the big news coming up?
I don't even know if I'm allowed to say it, but I'm fighting Aaron Jeffrey. I already said it once.
Okay.
It's August 11th, and I don't want to give too many details because they haven't even announced the card yet or anything. But yeah, in August, I'm fighting Aaron Jeffrey.
That's awesome, man. It's great to have you. It's going to be great to see you back in the cage. I think this is a great test. I think it's for Aaron. It's a great test because I think the fight with John Salter was not the most entertaining. And I believe this is a great battle of Florida gyms. You got you from Top Team. You got him from Kill Cliff. And I think this is going to really help you with a victory, get into that title picture for good based on the Bellator Paris results. Is that something you would agree with?
Yeah, I mean, but the thing is I wanted to fight John Salter. You know, he won the fight. It makes more sense to fight the winner, and I think that's who I was supposed to fight. You know, logistically, it worked out with the rankings. It worked out, but he went and retired. Dude, that dude does not want to fight me. You know, at least I got a willing dancing partner in Aaron Jeffrey. You know, but like I said, John Salter won that fight, whether it was entertaining or not. He did. That's who I was hoping to get. So getting the loser after that fight, I don't really know what that does for me, title picture wise. I'll probably have to get one more in, you know, because they're going to be like, okay, John Salter lost for the title or lost the #1 contender spot against Johnny Eblen, didn't even get to fight for the title. And then his next fight, he went out and beat Aaron Jeffrey. And now you're fighting the loser of that. I mean, Bellator could put me in the title situation. I mean, I'm 8-0. I'm on an 8-win streak. I think Johnny is the only person in all of Bellator. I mean, I haven't looked into it with a longer win streak inside Bellator. Now I know they brought up something about weight classes where they're like, I'm 5-0 in the middleweight division, which is second behind Johnny at like 8-0 or 9-0, whatever he is. And I know Yaroslav Amazov is 8-0 in Bellator as well. So, I mean, that puts me up there right with those two guys. And I mean, I don't know how you could be denying me a shot for too much longer.
No, I do believe. I think once Johnny gets a few defenses in, I do believe you're next in line. I do think he will beat Fabian Edwards. I do believe the wrestling is too much for a guy like him. It's that European style that meets that American style. You have a good wrestling. You have an A1 wrestling background. I got to make sure I choose my words carefully there because I don't want you to, because you take your wrestling seriously based on our last conversation. And I believe your wrestling is something that a lot of people aren't really looking at. They look at you as maybe a guy that can strike, but I've seen you grapple, and bro, you're a problem on the ground, man. And so I think with a good showing against Aaron, I do believe you are next. You're 8-0, number 4. It's a young division. You know, you got Gegard, who might be on the way out from that performance. So I do believe you are next in line. I see it happening in the not far distant future.
Possibly. In my mind, they'll probably give me one more. You know, unless I go out there and finish John Salter in the first round. I mean,
All
Aaron
right.
Jeffrey in the first round. I'm sorry. I was
Okay.
so stuck on John Salter for
I
so
know.
long. You know what I mean? That keeps slipping my mind that I'm fighting Aaron Jeffrey. Uh, but like I said, I got a willing dancing partner in Aaron Jeffrey. He's still ranked 6th. Who knows how Bellator is going to play it? But I think probably one more after this, and I would like one more after this just because I have one more left on my contract. So I wouldn't want to renegotiate and then have to sit on the bench for 8 months again. My contract's supposed to be up at the end of this year, so I would like to get one more fight in this year. You know what I mean? I don't want to have just one fight this year. So in terms of my personal goals and how often I want to fight, I'll probably fight one more out on this contract, do one more fight before that, and then fight for the title. And at that point too, it gives Johnny maybe another fucking title defense. I don't know. Maybe he moves up and goes for a fucking super fight at 205, and then we don't have to fight each other. That's best case scenario. We don't have to fight each other. You know, he leaves or goes to the UFC or goes up a weight class, and that's how it works out best. But you know, if he doesn't, and we have to fight each other, I mean, it is what it is. My goal is to be champion. He's the champion right now. He's a great champion, great fighter, a teammate of mine, friend that I consider. And I mean, like I said, it's just gonna, if it comes down to it, it has to.
The more like I talk to you, and then the more when I hear him talk, I understand how like you guys have that close friendship, and I understand it's a business, but you guys are just so likable. Like, you're so likable. The more I hear you both talk, it's like you know how to get fans on your side. Even me, like I'm rooting for Johnny to whoop Fabian. I know that's a bit of bias there, but you know why. But I do see that gonna be. I do see like I see that as a big win for Johnny. But yeah, you guys, like the way you guys are ATT together, it's basically Vegeta, and I guess I don't know who I guess he would be Goku in a sense, or maybe Broly. I don't know. I don't want to say like Piccolo. That's an insult to him. So it's
Yeah, it would be. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is, but he's definitely going to beat Fabian. I don't see that going any other way. If it did, I'd be surprised. Fabian's a good fighter too, but you know, this is MMA. It's not a kickboxing fight.
right.
Gerard Mousasi doesn't have very good wrestling. You know, he doesn't have very good grappling. Not that he's not competent there. He is, but you know, he's not great.
The game plan was not the right one, because if you've watched old Mousasi fights, he does have very good grappling when he uses it, but just the game plan wasn't the best to stand with Fabian, because you could see that Fabian had the fat twitch striking with those muscles where he was able to mix it up better. And then the time he was on the ground, it was his takedown defense was very good. So I see what you mean there. And look, time catches up to everybody. And this is a young man's game. Now this is your division. It's Eblin's division. It's Fabian's division. And a whole slew of young contenders. That's how I'm looking at the middleweight division in Bellator. It's out with the old, in with the new. And with that also, so the one thing I want to ask, because you did say just now, this is your last fight on your contract. And I'm going to ask the question this way. Oh, you need to
fights left on my contract.
2 fights. Okay.
More after this.
Okay. So you have 2 fights with this one and then the next one after this. So when you were on Simon Arias's podcast, the first time, you were talking about like how, to get to MMA, you were in a lot of debt. You had to really hustle to get your food and to get your training in. Now you're in a great position. You've understood the foundations of good money management. What have you learned as the last 2 fights come up to manage your money better? It's not a question that I ask often, but it's important because we hear the common story that fighters go broke, fighters do this, but you seem super smart with the people you have around you.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. The plan is to start investing more, whether it be in businesses, whether it be in real estate going forward, that's my plan. However, being in Florida right now, inflation and with how everything, the economy is going, and I mean, just Florida itself, South Florida in particular, it's very expensive down here. So, I save money when I can, I invest it when I can, but with the price of things going up, I got to start earning more money in Bellator as well. So I'm doing well for myself now, but man, shit down here is getting expensive. So
Exactly. And you also gave a very good advice. And this is something I agree with, because you went to college, but you said if I could go back in time, I would not have done it. And if you hadn't, if you finished high school, would you have done like maybe trade school, maybe, or would you have done, say, maybe like a certification if you didn't go to college because you were trying to like make sure you made your dad happy at the time for him? Because he always said education is key.
So the whole reason I went to college, to be honest with you, I mean, my whole goal was always to be a professional athlete, whether it was
Okay.
football or MMA. It was one of the
Mhm.
two. And I kind of let life choose for me. And I
Mhm.
went to college to wrestle at first,
Mhm.
And my senior year, my junior and senior year, I got hurt both years wrestling.
Mhm.
So I didn't get to win a state title
Mhm.
in wrestling because both years I got hurt before the postseason came. My senior year, I tried wrestling through it. Fuck, I don't want to say I shit the bed, but there's only so much you can do with a shoulder injury, a knee injury, and everything else going on. And I don't want to sit here and make excuses and be a has been. So I'm not gonna. But I lost. I wasn't the better man on those days, and ended up not getting that state title. So I wanted to go to college to kind of redeem myself to wrestle. So it was either football or wrestling. And the competitive mindset in me, since that happened, because I never got to actually get the state title due to injuries,
Mhm.
I was like, okay, I guess I'm going to fucking college to wrestle. And went to college to wrestle first, had a falling out with the coach, got injured again, fuck another knee injury. Had to sit out before PSACs. And like I said, the falling out with the coach just got progressively worse. And I had a doctor's appointment for my knee after begging from weeks on end, pretty much, to go see that doctor. And the athletic trainer finally was like, "Okay, his knee's not getting any better. I think it's something serious. He needs to go see the
Mhm.
doctor." So he finally made a doctor's appointment for me. They called me the morning of the doctor appointment, before the appointment, like 6:30 a.m. My appointment's at like 7:30. And they're like, "Yeah, the doctor was out today on emergency, so we're gonna have to reschedule your doctor's appointment for your knee." And I was like, okay. So I went to practice that day, and my coach was like, "Why didn't you go to the doctor?" And I'm like, "What do you mean? They canceled my appointment?" And he's like, "They canceled your appointment because you missed it." And I was like, "No, they didn't." I was like, because we had to keep our phones in the locker
Mhm.
room, which was downstairs. And this Seton Hill is like an older school.
Yeah.
So we were practicing in a big old gymnasium at the top of one of the buildings. And the locker rooms were down on the first floor, where like all the workout equipment and the fitness area and everything else was. So I had to go back down there and get my phone. And I asked him, I was like, can I go do that? And he was like, yeah. I came back up. I'm like, look, it has a timestamp on it, and I'm gonna let you listen to this. So I let him listen to it. And then I showed him the timestamp, and it was before the 7:30 appointment. And never, not that I was looking for an apology. I'm a fucking grown man. You don't have to apologize to me. It is what it is. At the end of the day, we can have a fucking disagreement and still be cool. But the fact that he was acting like a petty little girl about it after, and he wouldn't even make eye contact with me. He's looking straight forward, said nothing after the voicemail. Everybody else that was around, like the two other coaches that were standing right there, were like big eyed, like looking like were distraught or in disbelief that he was acting the way that he was. Now,
Mhm.
they didn't say that, but you could tell just by their reaction. They were in disbelief that he was acting the way he was. He was acting like a child. He was probably closing on 40 years old.
Mhm.
And, from that point forward, they had me riding the bike still, doing the ropes at practice, even though I'm fucking injured, trying to keep me in shape for whenever I come back. And I'm like, I'm probably going to need surgery. So everything just kept going downhill from there. Ended up missing PSACs. He was pissed off about that. And so I ended up transferring. I transferred to Youngstown State, played football. Ended up injuring my knee worse there,
Oof.
and had to get surgery on it. And after I got surgery, I was out 6 to 8 months probably, and I was supposed to get cleared multiple times, and I didn't. And I just watched everybody pass me up on the roster, and I'm like
Mm.
thinking to myself, I'm like, this is so. At this point, I'm no longer getting any money to play football,
Mhm.
and fucking the price of the school per year tuition and room and board is going to be going up. And they called me in the office like, "We still want you to play, blah blah blah, but we don't have any money for you, whatever." Uh, so I wasn't getting any money. I was getting my academic money, but no athletic money. And they required you to stay on campus to play. So I couldn't stay on campus anymore. I couldn't afford it. So I had to leave. And then that's whenever I got back in MMA. So I started with jiu-jitsu, boxing, whatever. And now I'm at where I am now. I kind of let life choose for me. And that's, long story short, I went off on a tangent, but the whole reason I went to college was to play sports. It was wrestling first, then football. And the degree was I don't want to say a side effect. It was something that came with it. You know? And the only reason I ended up finishing after I stopped playing football is because I'm like, all right, I'm already halfway through, and then my dad just passed away, and I know my dad would have wanted me to get my degree just in case. So I used those next 2.5 years to get my degree while training and everything. But looking back on it, instead of doing that, what would have made my dad happy, I should have did what was best for me, and I should have, dropped out at least temporarily, or took, online classes for 4 credit hours, 8 credit hours a semester while I was working. And I could have worked full time and been saving up money instead of putting myself in debt. And then I could have been training more often as well, because in college I was trying to balance training, school, and work. And I was trying to make just enough money so that I can go to school and I can go to practice, but it wasn't enough to do anything outside of that. A lot of the time I wasn't making enough money to even pay my bills. I was getting behind, overdrafted on my bank account. Like I said on the podcast, I knew I would have like $3 in my bank account, but I'd go to the gas pump anyways, pay at the gas pump, knowing I only had $3 in there, and I'd fill it up with for like $50. I'd be minus 47 in the bank, and then you get overdraft fees, $7.50 a day or $11 a day, whatever the hell it was back then. I don't remember. I'm just throwing out random numbers, arbitrary numbers. And looking back, I'm like, I could have avoided all that. I could have been working 40 hours a week, and even if it's something as shitty as like $10 an hour, which is like super shitty today in today's economy, age with the economy, at least here in the United States. And I could have been making $10 an hour. Let's say I was working overtime 50 hours a week, and I was practicing before I went into work, and then after I went into work. So I'm still getting my 2 days in, and I'm getting to work 50 hours a week, probably making close to $600 a week. And what is that, $2,400 a month, as opposed to going $30,000 in debt, $40,000 in debt, $10,000 in debt per year. So it's $40,000 that I'm in debt, or $30,000 per year times 4, and that's a $160,000 swing of money. And I would have had just as much time, if not more, to train, and I would have been getting better sleep, would have been progressing faster. But hindsight's 2020. Can't do anything about it now.
You did it, and look at all those experiences that got you into, it helped you get into Bellator. You got a great contract. You're also, like you said, you positioned yourself better now, and that's something that makes you championship material. You got to go through all those struggles to harden your mind and harden the body, as cliche as it sounds, but look at where you are now, and you're positioned yourself way better. And yeah, you got great people surrounding you, and that's the key. It's who you hang out with, who you surround yourself with, and what they're helping you, whether it's a mentor, whether it's a teacher. Because I know, like you said, it's like you weren't really like having help after your dad passed, but it was kind of like trial and error. And I mean, there were some.
I did have help here and there.
Oh, okay.
People helped me out here and there. It wasn't like completely like by myself. And when I say like my employer at the time, when I was doing like electrical work, he gave me that job pretty much to help me out, to make some extra money. And like whenever I was fighting, he knew other companies that like wanted to sponsor, a local guy. So he helped me out with stuff like that. You know what I mean? So I had like, and then also with my fights, I made commission off ticket sales. I didn't openly tell anybody about that. People would always ask me, do you like get money? Do you make money off these sales? Blah, blah, blah. And I was always telling them like, not much, but they would still buy anyways. People would always tell me, big t-shirts, so we could buy it off you, stuff like that. And these people didn't necessarily know I was like struggling financially. They just wanted to support, you know? So,
Makes sense.
you know, if it wasn't for my amateur career and selling so many tickets and having so many people behind me and wanting to come to my fights and support me, I wouldn't have made, you know, 30% commission on my ticket sales at these shows where I'm selling $6,000, $7,000 worth of ticket, whatever the hell I sold, and making a grand or two off the fight and being able to put that in the bank to help me out. You know what I mean? Just stuff like
Amazing.
that. And then, like I said, getting the job, just he gave me the job just because he knew I needed extra money.
Right.
And then, yeah, I mean, those are prime examples. There's plenty of other examples as well over the years, but you know,
You got to do what you got to do, and we're all trying to get bread in this world, and even through hard times. And it's a testament. I mean, Johnny's story is interesting too, because Johnny had blown out knees. I think Johnny fought at, I think it was Missouri State, right? If I'm not mistaken.
yeah, Mizzou, I think.
And apparently, like he came to ATT. It was like not in a great position financially, and then look what happened. It's like you like both. It's like really like it's you guys are American success stories. I know this is your podcast, but I just feel like you and him are intertwined with the same manager, being at the same gym, and I just feel like experiences are different, but struggle is what helps get you to the next level if you're willing to embrace it and go through it.
I agree. I agree 100%.
Like, I mean, I don't want to like, I mean, for me this year, like I'm finally able to feel like I'm in a better position now. Cause after the first time we spoke, I was, I mean, like I'm very open with my battles with, now mental illness is thrown around like a cat, like candy, but like I had depression from grieving my mom's passing that happened, and then my dad who passed away 9 years prior. So there was like all this culmination, and it's like, I went through a lot of struggle too. And then like I see guys like you, I see guys like the pro fighters, and that's where like I love pro fighters because they're just like us. They went through struggle, and to get to where they are. And I used I just want to say, I know I used your conversations with Simon as well, like to actually propel me in a better direction. And I started seeing a psychologist. I talk about grieving, just unconstructing everything I was doing that was putting me in a bad position. And I'm in a better position. And I got to say, it's because of pro fighters like yourself and others that are really people's champions, not with the belts. It's about how you guys tell your story. So I just want to give a testimony to how those conversations really helped propel me to get in a better situation.
I'm glad to hear that, man. I'm glad to hear you're doing better.
Thank you. It feels great. I'm losing the weight finally. So like that's where you saw me doing the skipping rope. I'm in the gym. Like I'm trying to get that Hercules physique, man, to a degree. It's like a mix of like I want to get that Costello physique with a bit of Hercules. The big upper body, because I do knock down karate, as you know, and like I like to, and like I have that Iranian power like to push through, but I'm a fat fuck right now, but it's okay. I'm gonna lose it. I'm losing it. It's good. It's good. I'm going down. So, and I'm loving it. I'm embracing the grind again, and I see you training. But apparently, I heard you're training. You don't lift weights that much, but you're able to do a lot of squatting with weights. Like, what's your how do you have the physique you have? Like, it's insane.
So I just started lifting again 6 months ago. Like. Pretty often, like regularly, a few times a week, 3 times a week. But for the longest time, for 5-6 years after I got done playing college football, I was so muscle bound. I was like 235 pounds, 240 pounds, whatever it was. And I had to lose weight. I wasn't about to fight Francis Ngannou, bro. I'm only 6 foot tall. These dudes are fucking 6'4", 6'5", some of them fucking 6'8" at heavyweight. No way in hell I'm fighting these guys. You know what I mean? And I'm putting myself at a disadvantage, a long reach advantage and a huge height advantage or disadvantage. So there's no way I'm going to fight these guys. I'm giving myself the best chance possible. So I stopped lifting to lose weight for fighting. And I got down to 205 as an amateur. Was probably walking around 215, would cut to 205 at first. And then I got down to like 210. And then like for my cut, I would just have to do something like the day out. Like I didn't have to do any like special dieting or anything. I would still eat clean, but wouldn't have to do it. Then after I actually went to 185 once as an amateur. It was against Quentin Schumard. It was my third fight. I went down just to see I could do it. I did it pretty easy. And that was same day weigh-ins. And then I wanted to go 185 as an amateur, but Bellator offered me a 205. So went 205 first, fought a couple fights there, and then they let me go down to 185. The first one was against Mark Gardner, which was a developmental fight. I was in the developmental deal for my first 3 fights, fights 1, 2, and 3. But Yeah, so that's why I stopped lifting weights. And then I figured if I can lift again now while still maintaining mobility and not adding any size, or if I'm going to add size, not too much, because I don't want to be taken away from my gas tank or any of my reserves for fighting, because this is very a cardio intensive sport. And like the more muscle you have, obviously, the more oxygen your muscles take to recover. And I'm already at a disadvantage because I'm more muscular than every guy in my weight class. So yeah, I have speed or explosiveness or power advantage over a lot of these guys, and strength, when we're physically in the clinch and stuff. But a lot of the time, because, I'm trying to do a better job at maintaining this and seeing when I need to use it and when not. But a lot of the time I don't use my strength because I'm trying to preserve energy for my gas tank, so it's like a thing where I'm trying to get experience in the cage of knowing when to pull the trigger, when not to, when to step off the gas, when to step on it, when to red line it, when to really use my fucking strength, when I'm fucking lifting people or squeezing or whatever. But a lot of the time you try to do things that expend less energy, so you have energy later in the fight. But for somebody that's built like I am, for my genetics, for my physiology, for how strong I am, how powerful, how explosive, I just had a fucking awakening recently, I guess you would call it, where I just really realized I need to fucking start using that shit more often. My last few fights, of course, I had the knockout against Romero Clyde, and of course, I had the knockdown late against Anthony Adams, but I didn't get to finish there. But the 3 fights before that, I was really, stepping off the gas. I was so worried about, being able to be efficient in my movements and efficient in using my strength and my power and explosiveness to where I didn't get tired. Or if I got tired, it was minimal, you know what I mean? But now going forward, man, I'm back to fucking trying to take people's heads off.
Amazing. Well, Dalton, obviously we can only do a bit of time today, because not an hour, because we were both busy, because you got to be super dad to one of your French bulldogs who you love dearly, Athena. So Athena is a real MVP for going through what happened, and everyone loves your French bulldogs, if she wants to make an appearance, I mean, you could take her if she's
Athena.
Yeah, let's get Athena. We're getting a dog appearance, people. We're getting a dog appearance on the Drewsperience. It's the first time for everything. This is one of Dalton's Frenchies. He's got 2. He's got one named Pegasus, and then this is Athena. This is Athena. So
yes,
let's watch
this. Athena.
Watch this, guys. Watch this. Hi, Athena. Watch
Hold
this.
on. I'll get her face in it.
Watch this. Hi, Athena. Look at this. Look, see her ears prick. She knows. She knows. This is a smart French bulldog. This is a different kind of French bulldog they got. And Pegasus, too. They're smart. So Athena's the real MVP. And Dalton, where can people connect with you if they want to continue following you? Because you're rising like a hot stock, man. The king of Pittsburgh needs to get some more appreciation.
I appreciate that. You can follow me at Dalton Rosta on Twitter and Instagram. I have a Facebook page as well, Dalton Rosta MMA. And thank you for having me on the show again, man. I appreciate it. It's fun as always.
Thanks, man. It means a lot. And I always love having you on. And hopefully, as I launch this, I'm slowly, I don't want to get expectations high. You see the first, you got to be your own brand. Like, I mean, if you ever want a hoodie, I can gift you one too. Just let me know what your size is, and I'll send it off to ATT or wherever you are in Florida, and we'll figure it out. Let me know the color you want, and I can gift it to you. So that way, if you ever want something, because you're alumni on the show, and we're gonna do more podcasts, and hopefully when whether it's before or after your next fight. And yeah, man, you always have a spot on here. And just want to say shout out to Simon too. I know Simon is like a big guy in your corner, so he gave me a great message too. He said, keep doing what you're doing. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. You don't need you don't need the material. Just keep doing you. You have the personality. You're going to succeed. And that meant a lot to me.
Yeah, he's a good guy. I'm glad you guys got to connect. But yeah, before my next fight, after my next fight, whenever, it doesn't matter. Whenever this fight's actually announced, if you want to get on and talk about it a little bit more, we can. If you want to talk about the fight after I win, because I am going to fucking win.
You are. I see it happening.
Yeah. So we can get on after that if you want to, and whatever works for you, I'm down with.
Excellent. Guys, make sure to follow Hercules. If you like the Drewsperience, follow it on all platforms. Yes, I've got my own merch line. Fuck you, Gary V. I don't want to quote you, but yes, you are your brand. So what's up? So follow Hercules, follow Drewsperience, because we're making it big.